Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Fix. I'm Peter Loshak. Today is Wednesday, July 4th, and this weekend we have a huge UFC 226 card coming up. Great card with, of course, a heavyweight title fight and the Max Holloway Brian Ortega fight at featherweight in Las Vegas, Nevada. The highly anticipated card. Everyone's very excited about it. Everyone's already talking about it and discussing what the best bets on this main card might be, and we're going to discuss that right now with our regular returning guest, Andreas Hale. Andreas Hale, thanks so much for being back with us one more time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. We're all super excited about the main card of UFC 226 right now. I'm sure you can tell from my voice and demeanor that I'm just as excited as everyone else is. And DC against Stipe for the heavyweight title fight, scheduled to go 5 rounds. Right now, Stipe is about, a minus 250 or so favorite. DC is about a plus 210 or so underdog. And of course, DC has beaten all comers in his career except for Jon Jones. On the other side, though, Stipe maybe just still, even though he's done so well for so long, still maybe getting a little bit disrespected, still maybe a little bit undervalued and underrated, because I didn't think he would handle Ngannou so well when he beat him, but he did. Ngannou, obviously a super impressive mentally and physically quality beast of a fighter, and Stipe beat him. So here we go, DC against Stipe. I can't really see DC winning. I can't really see DC losing. How do we bet this one?
The value's with Cormier. So the interesting thing is, obviously, Cormier was once upon a time a heavyweight, beat everybody he faced, won the Strikeforce Grand Prix, and became their heavyweight champion. Had to move out of the division because of Cain Velasquez. So you look at this fight against Stipe Miocic, and you say, okay, well, Stipe is naturally the bigger guy. Well, that's not necessarily true. The interesting thing here is that Stipe is going to have a slight height advantage, probably some significant size advantage to a certain extent, but he's never faced a wrestler like Cormier. That's the one thing he hasn't faced during his title run. If you look throughout his career, he hasn't faced a wrestler not even close to the caliber of Daniel Cormier, so that makes this fight very interesting. This fight should go the distance. I don't see anybody getting stopped. DC, he's only been stopped by Jon Jones, which was overturned to a no contest. Stipe got stopped when he got injured against Stefan Struve. I think this might go the distance, but I really like Cormier here. He's tough in the clinch. He's a great wrestler. He's got underrated hands and boxing ability. Stipe, not to take anything away from him, he's been disrespected during his title run and even before that, but I think he's a little bit overvalued in this fight. So I like Cormier a lot.
Yeah, it's really hard to say where this line exactly should be, and I'm completely agreeing with you, Andreas. I already did a video where I discussed my initial thoughts on this one, and I thought, as far as the side, again, I just can't see DC winning or losing this one, so I don't know who I would bet if you gave me a free bet on this fight, but I did say that I thought that the over was the way to go. I don't have odds right now for a prop on the fight going the distance, but the total is 3.5 rounds. At Pinnacle, it's just minus 110, and I'm thinking that might be my favorite bet on the entire main card. My only concern, though, is that Stipe has a big reach advantage, but he actually doesn't, fight at range as much as guys who normally would if they have the height and reach advantages that he has. Stipe actually has short range punches that are very effective. If you watch his he tends to extend his arm out, but inside, when in the clinch, he has a very effective short range punch. And I'm concerned that maybe DC might get caught, because of course DC has a lot of experience fighting guys who are taller than he is and longer than he is and rangier than he is. But that's not really how Stipe fights most of the time, and he could catch Cormier.
He could, but if Cormier didn't get caught by Anthony Rumble Johnson, I'm not necessarily sure he'll get caught by Stipe Miocic. Rumble's a giant at light heavyweight, and Daniel Cormier was able to get inside, take him down, and finish him off. It won't be that easy, obviously, because Stipe is also a very underrated wrestler. But I think the issue here is, can Stipe keep Cormier off him? Cormier also has an exceptional motor for a 5-round fight. The guy just keeps coming at you. He'll just keep going until you finish him off. So I'm a little concerned as the fight gets into deep water, because Cormier is going to be a little bit smaller, but I think he's going to have a lot of energy in this fight. Can Stipe keep up? Will he be put on his back 3 out of those 5 rounds and the judges see it his way, and we have Cormier as the new 2-division champion? It's kind of the way I see it going. And with this line, I just find a lot of value in Cormier. Like I said, I like Stipe a lot. He could catch Cormier, but I just don't necessarily see it happening. Cormier's not going to be fueled by anger like he was against Jon Jones when he got caught with that head kick. There's no animosity here. He really likes Stipe. And the issue here is, we're looking at a guy who is an exceptional wrestler who has already fought a heavyweight and has already beat the likes of Josh Barnett and Roy Nelson and Frank Mir. So Stipe, yes, he's going to be a great challenge, but I think Cormier has a lot of advantages here and just is getting completely disrespected on the line.
Yeah, it is. It's true. Cormier gets disrespected, but he's going up against a guy, Stipe, who's gotten repeatedly disrespected, including in his last fight. And I just feel like in his entire career, fading Stipe has been a not a good proposition to bet into. Although, again, as you said, it's as far as the line is concerned, Stipe is getting a lot of credit on the line here, all the way up at minus 250 or so. Well, I will definitely make the over 3.5 rounds at minus 110. That will definitely be an official pick for me. Over 3.5 minus 110. That's the current line at Pinnacle. And yeah, I guess if you gave me a free bet on this one, I would have to take DC in the Loshak in the Bag show that I just did this morning. All the very savvy MMA commenters were saying that they thought that the value was definitely with Cormier. And I'm thinking that, if the fight goes the distance, that definitely favors DC. If you knew beforehand that the fight was going to end inside the distance, do you think that would favor Stipe, or do you think that a finish by DC is also a very real possibility?
It's a possibility. I mean, more so with Stipe Miocic because his heavy hands and his ability to finish just about everybody he's got in front of except for Ngannou in recent fights. So that would go more towards Stipe, but it's not like Cormier can't finish him. I mean, the guy, if he gets on top of you, he's really tough to get off. So, yeah, I think the ebb goes with Stipe on that, but I'm not going to ever discount Cormier from finishing a fighter.
All right, well, I'll give over 3.5 rounds at minus 110 as an official pick. Andreas Hale, do you want to give an official pick on this one?
Yeah, I'm going to give 2. I'm going to go with the over, just like you, Pete. And I'm actually going to go with Cormier here. I like him a lot. Looking at Stipe's record, he's fought a lot of guys who were either in too soon, like Ngannou, maybe a little washed up in Overeem and Dos Santos and, Verdun, who just was a fool that ran at him. So he hasn't faced somebody that's, arguably still in their prime in Cormier. So I really like Cormier. I'm going to make that official pick as well.
All right. So Andreas Hale liking Cormier. The current best line at SBRodds.com is plus 209. That's the current line at Pinnacle. I don't have access to any prop odds as yet, but presumably you think that Cormier by decision might also be a prop worth considering?
Absolutely, I think it is. I mean, he's the underdog. I probably see that, plus 350, 400, somewhere around there. So, yeah, I would absolutely make that something to consider.
All right, awesome. Andreas and I in agreement that the over has value, and going back a long way when Andreas and I agree on a play, especially a total in UFC, it tends to be a great bet. Now let's move on to Ortega against Holloway. This is another fight. I'm not sure, I don't know how to make heads or tails of this fight. Both these guys, I can't see either of these guys losing, similar to the Cormier fight. We did have some guys in the Loshak in the Bag show suggesting that Ortega should be the favorite. Right now he's about plus 130. Obviously Ortega has been super impressive, but I don't know if I would say that he's been any more impressive than Holloway. Again, can't really see either of these guys losing. Should Ortega be the favorite here?
Absolutely not. I like Brian Ortega, and, he raised a lot of eyebrows when he finished Frankie Edgar, but this is what have you done for me lately type of business. And Max Holloway has destroyed basically everybody that's in front of him. There's really no fighter like him in the featherweight division. He deserves the accolades. He deserves to be the favorite here. He is the champion. Ortega, yes, he's a great fighter. I think this is going to be a very good fight. For a lot of people, it's unpredictable, but I think Max Holloway, I'm actually surprised he's not a little bit bigger of a favorite in this fight.
You're surprised he's not a bigger favorite. Yeah, I mean, he has had, he had to pull out of a fight earlier this year because of injury concerns. Do you think that there are any injury concerns or any health issues with Holloway that might impact this fight at all? I'm just looking for, I'm reaching for any kind of angle here, Andreas Hale.
No, it's the crazy thing is, Ortega's looked as a new kid on the block and the guy that's on the rise, but Max Holloway's still a year younger than Brian Ortega, which is insane to me. And if you look at Holloway, he's always improving. So this is one of those things where I'm not necessarily worried about the injury. As tough as Holloway is, I don't think he'd be a fool and get into a fight and still be hurt, especially with his title on the line and wants to prove himself as the best featherweight in the world. So I don't see very many angles. The only angle I really do see that's cause concern is Ortega's grappling versus the fact that maybe Ortega fell in love with his striking by knocking out Frankie Edgar, and he might sit out to try to outstrike Max Holloway, which would be a terrible idea. But there's not a lot that I see here. Like, I love Ortega after what he did to Edgar. I think this is a very good fight, but I really like Holloway in this fight.
Really? You like Holloway? And then let's just quickly touch on the total. This is another one where I was thinking, now, obviously these guys are much more dynamic at this stage of their careers than DC and Stipe. So I don't like the over in this one nearly as much as I like it in the DC Stipe fight. But I was also thinking that might be a play as well. Similar line, 3.5 rounds is about -115. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think both these guys are extremely durable. I mean, Ortega has never really been put in a tough spot throughout his career. And Holloway, he hasn't been really in a tough spot really since Conor McGregor. So this is a fight that I probably see going over here. I mean, somebody could get hot, but I just think they're too tough for one another. So I think this fight goes over for sure.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to hold off on that one. But would you say that you like the over here as much as in the heavyweight fight, or less so?
A little less, a little less. The reason why is, again, Ortega hasn't fought somebody like Holloway, and Ortega, maybe his hands are for real. Maybe this is a side of him that we haven't seen. He catches Max Holloway asleep at the wheel. Very possible. I don't necessarily see it, but I like the over, but not as much as the Cormier Stipe fight.
All right, well, I'm going to have to think about this one a lot more before I make an official public pick. Andreas Hale, though, we do have, if we line chop here, we can get almost even odds. The best odds for Holloway right now at SBR odds, -135 at Heritage. The best odds for Ortega is at Pinnacle at +131. So almost even odds market-wide, almost a no-vig odds market-wide on the money line in this one. You want to make an official pick, Andreas?
I'm going to go with Holloway, and the reason why is this. Ortega hasn't been in a 5-round fight. Max Holloway seems to get better and gets a little bit more pressure put on his fighters as the fight goes on. So I like Max Holloway a lot. I think he wins the decision here, 3 rounds to 2 maybe. Ortega fades down the stretch. And I'm also going to go with the over. I'm going to take that official pick as well.
Wow.
I think Ortega's very tough. I think Holloway's a guy who, again, he starts off pretty slow and wears down his opponents. Ortega's younger than Jose Aldo. I'm figuring he's going to take a little bit more punishment. It'll be a little bit smarter and try to get this fight to the ground. But I think eventually it'll fall into Holloway's favor, and I think he wins the decision here. So I'm going to go with Holloway and the over.
All right. Best odds for Holloway right now, -135 at Heritage, and the over is 3.5 rounds, -115. That is at both Pinnacle and Heritage. And again, when the prop odds come out, presumably you think that Holloway by decision might also be another prop worth looking into.
Absolutely. I think it will be a prop worth looking at, because if you look at the line here, I mean, I'm figuring that you're going to get a decent line on Holloway by decision. So definitely take a look at that.
All right, now let's move on to a Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou, obviously a super, super impressive fighter, impressive human being. Just love watching him fight, love watching him in interviews. And he did lose to Stipe, but obviously his career is on a huge upward trajectory right now. And he should be the huge favorite over Derek Lewis. Both these guys obviously can get finishes. This fight has inside the distance written all over it. The question is exactly how huge of a favorite should Ngannou be? Right now he's about -350 or -360 market wide. Is that too high, too low, or just right?
It's just right. I mean, you look at what Ngannou's done. Yeah. Granted, the Stipe fight, Stipe is the best heavyweight probably in the history of the UFC. So you can't really take anything away from Ngannou for going the distance with a man who had knocked out 5 or 6 opponents in a row previously. And we look at Derek Lewis, got finished by Mark Hunt. He tends to gas. And this is a fight where, two guys are going to be throwing everything they have at each other. So Ngannou is just the heavier hands, the more dynamic striker, the better conditioning. He has everything, all the tools here to win. This is spot on. This line is spot on. This is not too wide of a line.
Yeah, see, I was thinking it might even be a little bit too low of a line, and that maybe there is some value with Ngannou at -360. Right now, the market is giving, Ngannou about a 75% chance or so of winning, maybe a little bit higher, between 75 and 80% chance of winning this one. Does Lewis really have a 20% chance of getting a win here?
Yeah, he has about a 20% chance. I mean, we're talking about heavyweights here, where one fight can change, one punch can change everything. And we've seen Derek Lewis, when he lands that big shot, a lot of guys go down. His technique is a little sloppy at times. He's not as tight with his punches. And that's where Ngannou can kind of catch you. Very tight boxer. But anything can happen. Ngannou can overcommit on a right hand, and Derek Lewis can follow up and knock him down and finish him off. So he has a good shot at winning, just not that good. I won't give him a 0%, but 20% seems about right.
All right, and once again, we don't have a total for this one, but do you want to make an official pick or pass on it?
I'm going to pass on it. The line's a little bit too wide for my liking in a heavyweight fight where guys tend to get knocked out. So I really like Ngannou, but not enough at this line.
All right, Andreas Hale. Then the other two fights on the main card are a Roundtree against Saki and Pettis against Chiesa. And, you know, there's Saki's about a -130, 135 favorite. Chiesa's about a -155 or -160 favorite. I have no opinion on either of those fights as of right now. Maybe I'll develop one later on in the week, but I'm very interested to hear what you have to say about these two fights. Do you think there's betting value with either of them?
You know, this is hard. You know, I'm gonna stay off of the Roundtree Saki fight because you know Roundtree's been on a roll as of late, but it's really tough against a guy like Saki. Pettis and Chiesa is very interesting to me because I don't know what's left of Anthony Pettis. Michael Chiesa is not a striker; he's a great grappler, so I don't think he has the volume of punches to get rid of Anthony Pettis. But where is the Anthony Pettis that was the champion? I don't know if that guy's still here. So I'm looking at the line, and, you know, Anthony Pettis being an underdog. It's interesting. I could bite on it if he was a little bit bigger of an underdog, but where it's at right now, I think I'm going to hold off because Chiesa should win this fight given the momentum that he's had, and with Pettis, he just hasn't been there lately. So I'm going to pass on it, but it's a fight to look at. If the line continues to move away and continue to favor Michael Chiesa, maybe we'll take a look at Anthony Pettis if he gets closer to a +200.
All right, great insights as always, Andreas Hale. I am definitely taking the over in the DC Stipe fight. So is Andreas Hale. Andreas Hale also taking DC as a big underdog. And in the Ortega Holloway fight, Andreas Hale with clear opinions, liking Holloway and liking that fight to go over as well. Andreas Hale, thanks so much. Talk to you again very soon.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to our channel. Now, we've put a lot of work into producing all these free videos, so please help us out and keep all our content free for you forever by simply liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing. Now, not to mention, a visit to our industry-leading website will warm the hearts of all our SBR employees, especially myself. Now, the links are over there to the left, so do check those out. Thanks for watching.